How does one tell a life? Truthfully, across time, trauma, and ego. When biography becomes history and autobiography becomes resistance. It is my honor that I am welcoming Sri Sujit Mahapatra sir to the dais, please. Sir studied English literature in Bhubaneswar. Sir studied English literature in Bhubaneswar, Hyderabad, and Delhi. After completing his PhD research at University of Delhi, he chose not to submit his dissertation and instead founded the Bakul Foundation, a pioneering volunteer movement in Odisha. A former English literature faculty at Ravenshaw University and multiple-time TEDx speaker, Sir called himself an academic by hobby and a volunteer by profession. Under the movement of over 25 libraries, popularized public art, promoted tree gifting, and revived storytelling culture through Bufofest and academic online festivals. I would like to welcome Sri Lakshman Gaipur. Sir, on the dais, please. Sir is a noted writer and a social activist. He is the founder president of the Denotified Nomadic Tribal Rights Action Group. His published works include Uchalaya, that is translated into 17 languages and French, Dubhang Vadar Vedna, that is translated into 3 Indian languages. His other works include Swatantraya Konsati, Samaj Sahitya आणि Swatantraya, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Jeevan आणि Karya, Utav, and many more. He is a receptionist of the Sart Literary Award, Sahitya Academy Award, Maharashtra Gaurav Puraskar, and several other honors. We are waiting for another panelist, Srimati Garima Srivastav. She is the professor of Center of Indian Languages, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Her specialization is women in conflict areas with special reference to Eastern Europe. She has 23 publications to her credit, besides more than 70 research articles. Her book, Dehi Desh, is a diary based on war zone of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and even translated in many regional languages. She was honored with Jaipur Sahitya Sangiti Award for Best Novel Auschwitz Ek Prem Katha. I would be honored to welcome Sri Rajkumar Sir, is a professor in the Department of English of the University of Delhi. His research interests include autobiographical studies, Dalit literature, Indian writing in English, Odia literature, and post-colonial studies. A former fellow at the Indian Institute of Advanced Studies, Shimla, he has published widely in reputed national and international journals. His major work include Dalit personal narratives, reading caste, nation and identity, Dalit literature and criticism, and translations such as Akilya Nekis Bedha and Vasudev Sunani Padapode. His recent co-edited volume, Bama, Writer as Activist, is published by Routledge. Sir. Thank you. Now, I would like to welcome our moderator of the session, Sir Sujit Mahapatra.
Why don't you just introduce Garima Srivastav so that you don't have to do it while the session is on? Sir, she will be joining us.
Sir, I did introduce it. Srimati Garima Srivastav. She is a professor at Center of Indian Languages, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. Her specialization is women in conflict areas with special reference to Eastern Europe. She has 23 publications to her credit. Besides more than 70 research articles, her book, Dehi Desh, is a diary based on war zone of Bosnia, has been translated in many regional languages. She was honored with the Jaipur Sahitya Sangiti Award for Best Novel Auschwitz Ek Prem Katha. I would now invite Sir Sujit Mahapatra to carry on today's. Now, with a big applause, I would like to welcome Srimati Garima Srivastav on the stage.
On stage.
Ma'am.
Not. She's not.
That's fine. Yeah. I'll take over. Yeah.
Sir, please. She's come now. Srimati Garima Srivastav, ma'am, I would be honored to welcome you on stage. Sir. The dice would be Sir, please.
Okay. Yeah. Before we start, very good morning to everyone. Just to get a sense of our audience, can you please tell me, just one of you, which departments or disciplines you are part of? Are you all from the same school? Which school is this? So 11th, 12th, right? Okay. Same with you? Any other? I had said. So 11, 12 students, anyone else? Any other background? There are some BTech students here. MCom also. So cool. So just, setting the clarity for our speakers that this is the kind of audience that we have. Just very basic questions. How many of you have read biographies? How many of you have read any biography? Okay. Huh. I expect nothing less from here, but from there. Okay. What is a biography? Anyone? Just stand up and say, I can jump down, don't worry. They were skeptical whether I can climb up, but I can. Don't go by my looks. What is a biography? Anyone? Yes?
Atmajivani.
Atmajivani. Okay. Atmajivani. Atmajivani will be biography or autobiography? Okay, very good. Who can tell me the difference between biography and autobiography? Okay, very good.
Autobiography is written by the writer himself, and biography is written by someone else. So
Okay, very good. Acha, memoir, what a term switch? Memoir? MEMOIR? Who can guess what is a memoir? Because one of the books that we will be talking about is described as a memoir. Maybe I will ask Garima ji to explain that to them. But okay, we got a basic sense. Jibani, Atmajibani, biography, autobiography. Now we have three very interesting speakers here. Okay, the session is about biography and autobiography. A lot of them, for example, I don't know if you heard the description that was presented. We have Lakshmanji, a very famous, well-known writer in India. Jahankara, he has this autobiographical novel, Branded. Okay, so brand to me janicho, like, but then what would branded mean? When you're branded like a criminal. So how many of you have heard of the concept of a criminal tribe? Have you heard of a concept called a criminal tribe? During the British period, there were some there were some tribes that were labeled as criminal tribe. By birth, you are criminals. How can someone be a criminal by birth? A 5-day-old baby is also a criminal by definition. Just because you're born into that community. Right? So he talks about his own community, Uchhale, joda prathame se Marathi re likhi thile. He wrote, all of you understand Odia also? Okay. So he had written in Marathi and then it was translated in English, became hugely talked about, very popular, and it shocked a lot of people, because when he talked about the experiences of his own experience and the experience of his community, of course, the Criminal Tribe Act was repealed after independence, but still, Ko Bhabare, the scars continued. Ko Bhabare, they were still treated like that. Okay, he writes about that. Rajkumar Bhai is like an elder brother to me. I have known him for many years. So I studied literature also. How many of you want to study literature, by the way? Okay, one girl. I hope all of you will read literature. I hope in 1 month's time, you will be motivated enough to read a lot of biographies. Jota Ebe, right now you said that you have not read, right? I hope you will read some of them. So he was doing something very pioneering. And the pioneering thing was, he was researching on ओडिया दलित ऑटोबायोग्राफीज एंड आई रिमेंबर गोटे लिटरेरी कॉन्फ्रेंस रे आपण मन थिबो कि नहीं 2007-8 रे आया क्लास रो जो कॉन्फ्रेंस हेतिला in Bhubaneswar, and he talked about it, and many people, there was a professor of English who said, hey, Dalit experience एवढा सब ओडिसा रे हुए नहीं. We become very invisible to caste. Our experience रे, you may not experience that, but that does not mean the invisibility of the caste situation does not mean that it is not there, right? And he has been researching on that. Now Garima madam here has written about, there are many girls here, she writes about the female body as a memoir of war. A female body being the repository, telling its own story of war, of trauma, of identity, nation, belonging, alienation. Okay, so very interesting speakers here. What I would do, I am a storyteller, we are a general audience. I would request each one to first tell, share the story of how they got to write this story. And in Rajkumar Bhai's case, how and why, what were the stories, what were the personal experiences that triggered the writing of, whether it is the book Uchale, the novel, whether it is your own research on Dalit autobiographies, and in your case, and also what period of time. So if you can just tell the story, we can do it from there. So starting from Lakshman ji, and then we'll take it from there. I hope all of us are on the same page. Are jore kuha. Good.
हेलो एवरीबॉडी स्टूडेंट्स, मैं आपके साथ हिंदी में संवाद करूंगा क्योंकि अभी महापात्रा जी ने बोला बाय बर्थ क्रिमिनल, बट आई एम नॉट बाय बर्थ क्रिमिनल, आई एम ट्राइबल्स, ओनली ट्राइबल्स. सही मायने में महापात्रा जी ने बहुत लंबा परिचय करके दिया. अभी महापात्रा जी तो मैं पहली बार ये कहूँगा कि आज के सेशन में बायोग्राफी और ऑटोबायोग्राफी के ऊपर हम बोलने जा रहे हैं. मैं पहले तो सोया लिटरेचर फेस्टिवल का बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं कि उन्होंने इतना बड़ा प्रोग्राम यहाँ बुलाया है. हम जैसे को बुला के बातचीत करना, आदान प्रदान करना, आप लोगों से मिलना, ये सबसे बड़ी खुशी की बात है. सही मायने में आज के इस समय पे हमारे राजकुमार जी है, फिर श्रीवास्तव मैडम है, आप सभी स्टूडेंट यहाँ आए हैं. बायोग्राफी और ऑटोबायोग्राफी में बहुत कुछ अंतर नहीं है. कोई भी लेखक अपने अनुभव से वो लेखन करता है, अपने को जो मिला उसी के ऊपर वो राइटिंग करता है. लेकिन एक बात है कि ऑटोबायोग्राफी वही लिखता है जो हमेशा के लिए आश्वस्त होता है, हर बात के लिए जूझता है, या बहुत सी कठिनाई में गुजरते हैं. ऐसे लोग ऑटोबायोग्राफी की तरफ चले जाते हैं या लिखते हैं. मेरा जीवन ही ऐसा गया है. सही मायने में हम गांव गन्ने के लोग नहीं. आप सबको हिंदी आती है, समझ में आता है, हाँ, दिक्कत नहीं. कांजी भाई पटेल, आपको आता है हिंदी? तो मेरा जीवन तो ये क्रिमिनल ट्राइब्स में गया. हम लोग तो आजादी की जंग लड़ने वाले ट्राइबल्स थे. तो अंग्रेजों ने हमें 1871 में जन्म से अपराधी जनजाति घोषित कर दिया, और वैसा कानून भी आया बॉम्बे प्रेसिडेंसी में, और हम लोगों को गांव में आना बंदिश कर दिया. यानी अछूत लोग गांव में रह सकते हैं, लेकिन हम गांव में भी नहीं रह सकते हैं. तो पूरा गांव हमें अछूत मानता था, और एजुकेशन लेना भी हमारे लिए कठिनाई थी. क्योंकि एजुकेशन लेना ही नहीं ये भी हमारा वहाँ गुनाह था। लेकिन मैं इस बहाने आपको ये कहूँगा कि ऑटोबायोग्राफी मैंने जब उछला लिखी तो एक महाराष्ट्र में हंगामा खड़ा हो गया और मैं कहने लगा कि भाई जन्म से हम अपराधी कैसे हो सकते हैं। स्कूल में जब मैं जाने लगा तो 64 शायद होगा या 66 में मैंने प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंदिरा गांधी को खत इसलिए लिखा कि चौथी कक्षा में मैंने खत लिखा, इसलिए लिखा कि ये समाज कितना डूंगी है कि हर रोज प्रतिज्ञा बोलता है भारत मेरा देश है, सारे भारतीय मेरे भाई है और इसमें मेरा नाज है देश के ऊपर। मैं बोलता था फिर अगर हम भाई है तो हमें चोर उचक्के बोल के क्यों मारपीट करते, हमें क्यों तकलीफ देते हैं, फिर हम कैसे भाई हो सकते हैं, हम आजादी में कैसे है, ये सवाल पड़ता था पाठ्य पुस्तक के वजह से। तो मैं बोलने लगा कि ये तो गलत है। फिर मैं प्राइम मिनिस्टर इंदिरा गांधी को खत लिखा कि अगर हम सब भाई है तो हमें काम क्यों नहीं मिलता, हमें गांव में रहने क्यों नहीं देते, हमको एजुकेशन क्यों नहीं मिलता। तो इसके बारे में खत लिखा और डर के मारे मेरा एड्रेस नहीं दिया कि पुलिस का मुझे बहुत डर लगता था, क्योंकि पुलिस हमारे घर में आती थी तो माँ को पीटती थी, बाप को पीटता था और मैं तो छोटा बच्चा था। तो तू स्कूल कैसा जा सकता है, यानी तू तो क्रिमिनल ट्राइब्स का बच्चा स्कूल कैसा जाता है, इसलिए वो किताबें देख के मुझे भी मार पड़ती थी। तो ये हालत से गुजरने के बाद मैं जो मेरी अस्वस्थता थी, जो मुझे गुस्सा था, तो मैंने वो प्रकट किया। क्योंकि मेरी किताब शायद आप कितने लोगों ने पढ़ी मुझे मालूम नहीं, लेकिन अंग्रेजी में द ब्रांडेड बोल के मेरी किताब जो है, तो मैं चाहता हूं कि हम ट्राइबल्स हो, दलित हो, ये तो समाज का हिस्सा है। सही मायने में अगर हम तो आजादी की जंग लड़ने वाले थे, बिरसा मुंडा हो, उमाजी नाइक हो या तंट्या भील हो, ये हम लोगों को आजादी के बाद स्वतंत्र सैनिक मानना चाहिए था, लेकिन हमें गुनहगार जमात बोल के छोड़ दिया। हमें आजादी 47 को नहीं मिला महापात्रा जी, हमें आजादी भारत के 5 साल 16 दिन के बाद मिला। क्योंकि जो आजादी की जंग लड़ने वाले हम ट्राइबल्स थे, तो हमको अंग्रेजों ने जेल के अंदर कैद खाने में रखा था और उसके लिए भारत में 52 कैद खाने यानी सेटलमेंट पैदा हुए थे। अहमदाबाद है, दिल्ली है, महाराष्ट्र में सोलापुर है, गुलबर्गा है, ऐसे पूरे देश में 52 सेटलमेंट्स बने थे। और उसमें छुटकारा हमको कब मिला? 31 अगस्त 1952 को मिला। यानी तब तक हम आजाद नहीं थे। यानी जो इतना मजाक है, जो देश की आजादी के लिए लड़े उनको ही आजादी 5 साल 16 दिन के बाद मिला। और हमें पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू उस समय संसद में कहने लगे कि हम तो मुक्त है, लेकिन आप ये आजादी की जंग लड़ने वाले ट्राइबल्स, आज से मैं विशेष मुक्त करता हूं। और विशेष मुक्त का शॉर्ट फॉर्म विमुक्त हो गया। और ये विमुक्त सही मायने में ये संविधान में नहीं आया। 1950 में संविधान आया और हमारा छुटकारा हो गया 5 साल 16 दिन के बाद। तो डी नोटिफाइड नोमैडिक ट्राइब संविधान का हिस्सा नहीं। आज मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ, आप फर्स्ट सिटीजन है, मैं सेकंड सिटीजन हूँ। ये आज भी अंतर हमारे भारत में है। इसलिए ये ऑटोग्राफी लिखने के बाद बहुत लोगों ने इसके बारे में पढ़ा और सराहा गया। एक बात है कि आज मुझे यहाँ बुला के जो अपनापन मिला, यानी लोग ने स्वीकार किया कि भाई आप अपराधी नहीं तो आप भी इंसान है, इसलिए आपका शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ कि आपने हमें बुलाया, सम्मान किया। लेकिन आज भी मेरे जैसे को लगता है ये दलित, ये ट्राइबल्स क्या है, आखिर हमारे ही लोग हैं, हम एक देश के हैं। देश में जागरण होना बहुत जरूरी है। और दलित ट्राइबल्स खाली गरीब नहीं होता। तो महिला भी बहुत गरीब है, वो भी शूद्र है। एक महीने में महिला ने भी ऑटोबायोग्राफी बहुत लिखना चाहिए, क्योंकि उनकी तो हमारे से बदतर हालत है। क्योंकि हर धर्म महिलाओं का बहुत ज्यादा शोषण करता है। कोई धर्म ऐसा नहीं कि महिलाओं को इज्जत देता है, बराबरी का हिस्सा देता है, ऐसा नहीं होता है। क्योंकि आज भी वो शादी होने के बाद जाती है तो उसको कन्यादान बोला जाता है, यानी दान में दिया वाला वस्तु, यानी उसका स्वाभिमान पूरा निकल जाता है और औरों के घर में चली जाती है। तो उसकी भी समस्या है, वो भी ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखनी चाहिए। आप बच्चियां हैं तो जब तक आप लिखोगे नहीं तब तक आपका दर्द दुख लोग आपका देखेंगे नहीं, सुनेंगे नहीं। और हमने वही काम किया। दलित साहित्य कोई कमजोर साहित्य नहीं है। आज दलित साहित्य वैश्विक साहित्य हो गया है। आज मेरे जैसे का किताब न्यूयॉर्क यूनिवर्सिटी में भी पढ़ाया जाता है। बहुत सारे अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर किताबें पढ़ी जाती है। और खुशी की बात यह है कि भारत के आज़ादी के बाद हम सभी लोग एक अच्छे जीने के लिए समर्थ हो गए हैं। इक्वलिटी आ रही है। पहले की बहुत सी सारी बातें अभी खत्म हो रही। इसके लिए मैं इतना ही कहूंगा जाते जाते कि ये दलित जो मामला है, कुछ लोग बोलते हैं दलित मत बनो, ये दलित साहित्य मत कहो, लेकिन दलित साहित्य आज क्रांतिकारक साहित्य है। वो कोई निचला या गिरा हुआ नहीं है। तो विश्व में सबसे बड़ा साहित्य लिटरेचर में झेड़ा झंडा गाड़ने वाला एक बहुत अच्छा सशक्त साहित्य है और वो कमजोर नहीं है, यही कहूंगा। क्योंकि ऑटोबायोग्राफी और हमारे आज के विषय में बहुत से जानकार बोलेंगे, लेकिन जाते जाते मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि कैसे कैसे मंजर सामने आने लगे हैं, कैसे कैसे मंजर सामने आने लगे हैं। लोग गाते गाते चिल्लाने लगे हैं। दोस्तों, इस तालाब का पानी बदल दो यारो, इस तालाब में गुलाब के फूल मुरझाने लगे हैं, गुलाब के फूल मुरझाने लगे हैं। धन्यवाद।
वाह, बहुत बढ़िया। गोटे तुम मानु गोटे अनुरोध, जस्ट थिंक अबाउट इट। I have already talked about that. I've already talked about that. Just remember that just think about it. जिमती लक्ष्मण जी कहले कि हम सब भाई हैं, but why are we not treated like भाई? Think about it. Are there people that you know who are not treated the same way as you are? Who are those people? Right? And देखो गोटे भाव 1947 रे we all got independent, but people of his community, they were all in कोड़ी थिले, जेल रे थिले। एंड सेटा केबे जांकी जैसे मन को फ्रीडम मिलला 1952 रे, right? So, and just think about it, Jodhi, if he had not written his autobiography, would many people have known about it? Right? So anyway, we'll come back to it. I hope we'll have time after every speaker speaks, and then we can have some discussion. But then over to Rajkumar Bhai.
Go there.
Sure. About, and particularly the story of how and why you think, because since everyone is from Odisha and you can make it bilingual, ki, how many of you think that caste is a reality in Odisha, that Dalits are actually treated badly, a baby? Many people still are not sure about it. Okay, Rajkumar bhai.
Acha, I wanted. एके काम दोगे ना? Acha. Right. So I said good morning to everyone, and I thank the organizer, particularly Professor Gayatri Wala and her team, to have invited me. I'm really, that thankful to Siksha or Anusandhan. I'm also, that equally very happy to be a part of the panelist where Sujit is a moderator and Lakshman Gaikwad ji and of course Garima ji. Now, that I'm sorry, that students, because, that to impose, that people, those who are not interested in biography and autobiography will be really, that not good. So what I'll do is that I'll give you basic information because there are mixed audience, those who are interested in literature and non-literature. I will go beyond Odia Dalit autobiography. So what I want to tell you is that as Sujit had already asked you and you know about, biography is the one which is written by other than the, that person. Say, if I'm writing about others, then it is biography. And if I'm writing about myself, it is autobiography. But there are difficulties. You know that autobiography, these three terms have to be understood. Auto is self. There are differences between self and soul. In Indian context, I'll complicate the matter. The second thing is bio, life, whose life we are talking about. And the third is, of course, graph. Graph is writing. Yeah? But then graph is not just simple writing because everybody cannot write his or her autobiography. There are people also. So what about illiterate people? Can they write? So we have a term called mediated autobiography. So because my PhD was on autobiography, I have done extensively on autobiographical study. There are also differences between memoir, autobiography, and there are other, that genre. But in the Indian context, let's talk about, of course, I'll try to refer to in the, that world context also. In Indian context, biographies were available from the very early time. Say, if you go to cave, you will find little reference to the life of a person. Say, if you go to Dhauli in Bhubaneswar, you will find Ashoka, the emperor, writing about himself. So that could be part of biographical writing. So caves, paintings, scriptures, palm leaf, these were available in India. So biographies were written in early India. For example, I don't know whether you have heard about, there is Buddha Charita, Rama Charita. These are the biography. So in India, what I'm talking about is there was a very rich tradition of writing biography. Raja Tarangini, Kallan, for example, is also part of biographical tradition. But autobiography was not there. I must tell you that autobiography in India was written only in the 18th century, not before. Whereas in the world context, if you have read, say, St. Augustine Confession, I don't know whether anyone has read, 4th century AD, and this is considered to be the first autobiography in the world. St. Augustine Confession. This is a spiritual autobiography. I'll be giving you just information. So, beginning from 4th century AD, in the world we had a rich cultural tradition to write autobiography. But then, the spiritual autobiography turned into what is called secular autobiography in Rousseau's Confession. Rousseau also gave the same title, but in 18th century. Hope you know Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who was also considered to be the father of French Revolution, wrote his autobiography called Confession. But this is a secular autobiography. There is no time to actually explain about. So if there are questions, I'll be happy to tell about. But in the Indian context, autobiography was written only in 18th century. One by Banarasi Das. I don't know whether people have heard about. The first Indian autobiography is called Banarasi Das. And the title of the autobiography is called Ardha Kathanaka, Happy Tale. Mukund Lat has translated into English. And this gentleman is from Uttar Pradesh. And this is considered to be the first Indian autobiography. Look at, that the trajectory. 1761, Banarasi Das wrote his autobiography. But how long did it take for women in India to write autobiography? Anyone? Amar Jivan, if you have heard about, Rasasundari Devi wrote her autobiography only in 1860. Can you imagine? 1860 was the first Indian woman autobiographer, giving the title Amar Jivan in Bengali, which is translated into English as My Life. There are two different translations, of course. So why did it take so long for a woman in India to write her autobiography? That is the question. And that's why I was telling you that everybody cannot write, because women were not allowed to read and write in India because of the religious and cultural tradition. That's why women wrote autobiography late. But how long did it take for a Dalit, for example? Because, yeah, there is no time, 4 minutes. Anyway, so if you want to know about, say, a Dalit autobiography, who was the first person to write autobiography? Ambedkar, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar did try, but he could not complete what is called autobiographical notes between 1942 to 46. But the first Dalit to write his autobiography is called Hazari, called Untouchable, My Untouchable Life. This was written in English, got published way back in 1951 in America, not in India. Because here is a person who traveled to France and then went to, meaning France he first went, and then he went to America. Now, Dalit women also not privileged to write their autobiography. So the first Dalit woman to write her autobiography could be Baby Kamble. The translation is The Prison We Broke. So, that what I want to tell you is that once education became a compulsory, say Indian constitution says that a child till the age of 14 is, that compelled to read and write according to Indian constitution. Now literacy is available. That's why people started writing, reading, writing. Now, the last thing that I want to tell you before I conclude, that now if you want to go to market, you can buy plenty of autobiography, also biography. I wanted to also tell you that in between you will find biographies of, say, Shivaji, Gandhi, Subhash Bose, and many others. Now, what we find a trend in India, Indian context, now that literacy is available, and this is fascinating, and my conclusion is this, that now you will find autobiography written by almost all, that person from different, that background and community. I'm sure, that you have heard about meaning Baby Kamble I referred to, but then there are also Hijra writing in India. The first Hijra to write her autobiography is called A. Rebati, My Hijra Life. There is also a domestic help called Baby Haldar, whose autobiography is called Life Less Ordinary. Baby Haldar. It is also translated into Odia. Now, a prostitute in India is writing her autobiography called Nalini Jamil. She is from Kerala, and her autobiography is titled Autobiography of a Sex Worker. And of course, tribals are writing, and the best example is Sike Janu from Kerala again, Mother Forest. What I want to conclude in one line, that after, that reading several autobiographies and biography, of course, they have changed the understanding of India. And particularly, the different people writing, say, whether it is domestic help, sex worker, Hijra, tribal, Dalit, they are rewriting history of India in a new way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rajkumar Bhai. Before we go to Garima ji, how many of you are aware, about 20 years back, many women in Manipur went naked and protested against the army? सुनिचे था भी सर Do you think there's a connection between war and a woman's body? Think about it. Do you think that the woman's body is also a site where war effect is not just with the men in the army? In fact, body upar impact we normally don't think, not just women. You know, it is during COVID that I realized that so many wars outcome was determined by actually disease on the body. There was a pandemic or an epidemic, and that determined the outcome. So now we will listen to, okay, explain a little about the difference between a memoir and this, and why, you know, very interesting title, The Body, a Nation. You know, sometimes more Monachi, there was this theorizing some years back that the women write about the home, the men write about the nation. Okay. And here, the woman's body is a nation in itself. You know, that's how she has titled it. You know, I was actually thinking that in the context of this, men write about the nation, women write about the home, and people from oppressed communities write about the community, a kind of social history. Right. Over to Garima ji to speak about her experience and, you know, why she, and also another thing, all of us tell our autobiography, we tell people, right? In snippets. What happened to me today? I go and tell someone others tell. But think about how your personal experience can also lead to deep reflections about many things, which is what happened in her book, and she will talk about it.
थैंक यू। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत आभार। मुझसे पहले के जो वक्ता रहे उन्होंने मेरा काम आसान कर दिया। उन्होंने न सिर्फ कुछ बचा खुचा समय स्त्री को एक दे दिया, बल्कि इस पूरे सभा कक्ष में जहां स्त्रियों की संख्या बहुत अधिक है, उनको समझा भी दिया कि आत्मकथा और बायोग्राफी में क्या अंतर होता है। बात यह है कि आत्मकथा कोई लिखने के लिए क्यों प्रस्तुत होता है, क्यों तैयार होता है, जबकि हमारा पूरा समाज, शायद भारतीय समाज के बहुत सारे समुदाय अभी तक जिस सेंसरशिप से जूझ रहे हैं। देखिए, जब स्त्री बोलती है तो ऐसा ही होता है, आप ध्यान दे रहे हैं? तो सेंसरशिप कई तरह की होती है। एक होती है सेल्फ सेंसरशिप, एक होती है समाज की सेंसरशिप, एक होती है परिवार की सेंसरशिप। कोई व्यक्ति इन सारी सेंसरशिप से जूझने के बाद ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखता है, और जो भी सोसाइटी, जो भी समाज आत्म से, अपने आप से जितना ज्यादा कम्युनिकेट करता है, आप सब हैं, तो मुझे लगता है कि लड़कियां बहुत ज्यादा अपने आप से बात करती हैं। आप में से कितनी लड़कियां हैं जो अपने आप से बात करते हैं? सुबह उठ के कहते हैं ना, चलो उठो जल्दी, देर हो जाएगी, आज क्या क्या करना है। हम लड़कियां, हम स्त्रियां अपने आप से संवाद करती। ये जो खुद से बात करना है, इसको ईमानदारी से लिख देना, ये ऑटोबायोग्राफी है। लेकिन ये ऑटोबायोग्राफी जो है, ये लिखने के लिए कितनी ताकत और कितनी बाधाओं का सामना करने की आवश्यकता लोगों को पड़ती है। एक बहुत बड़े विद्वान थे, तो उनसे हम बात कर रहे थे और उन्होंने बाद में एक लेख भी लिखा। मैंने पूछा कि हमारा जो समाज है, इसमें ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखी क्यों नहीं गई, जबकि वेस्ट में 15 सेंचुरी से लेकर अब तक तमाम ऑटोबायोग्राफीज लिखी गई, भारत में क्यों नहीं लिखी गई? तो जानती हैं मुझे क्या जवाब मिला? कहा कि हिंदुस्तान में औरतों को सच बोलने की छूट नहीं है और पुरुषों को सच बोलने की आदत नहीं है। ऑटोबायोग्राफी तो तभी लिखी जाएगी ना जब आप उसको अपने बारे में सच बोलें। एक लड़की के जीवन में, एक स्त्री के जीवन में इतना कुछ होता है कि उसको सच कहना और दूसरे को उसको सच सुनने का धैर्य ये डेवलप करना पड़ता है। ये सच सुनने का धैर्य भी उसको सुयोग्य पाठक भी मिलने चाहिए, वो लिखे। मैं एक ऑटोबायोग्राफी का आपको उदाहरण देती हूँ। अतिया दाऊद नाम की एक सिंधी लेखिका है, तो उन्होंने ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखी, उसका नाम था आईने के सामने। उस ऑटोबायोग्राफी में उन्होंने एक अंश लिखा। मैं वो पोर्शन आपको इसलिए कह रही हूं, आपको सुनाना चाहती हूं, क्योंकि जब मैं ऑटोबायोग्राफी पर क्रिटिसिज्म लिख रही थी तो पब्लिशर ने वो पैराग्राफ वहां से इरेज कर दिया। यानी वो चाहते नहीं थे कि उनके द्वारा ऐसी किताब छपे जिसमें एक लड़की का क्या सच है। वो सच क्या है आप सब उस सच को जानते हैं। उन्होंने लिखा कि जब मैं 10 साल की थी और अच्छा खाना खाने के कारण शरीर थोड़ा मोटा हो गया, और वो लड़की का शरीर जब विकसित हो रहा है तो माएं चुन्नटदार फ्रॉक पहना देती, दुपट्टा लगा देती हैं। देखिए यहाँ कितने सारे बच्चे दुपट्टे में हैं। दिल्ली के स्कूलों में अभी हाल फिलहाल यूनिफॉर्म बदल दी गई है और स्कर्ट ब्लाउज के ऊपर इतनी गर्मी में एक सिंथेटिक कोटी पहना दी जाती है ताकि उसकी छातियां न दिखें। लड़की को अपनी छातियां छुपानी है, उस पर किसी की नजर नहीं जानी चाहिए। अतिया दाऊद ने लिखा कि मेरी माँ एक औरत को बुलाती थी गांव से, और वो घड़े का जो ऊपर का ढक्कन होता है उसको थुपनी बोलते हैं, उस थुपनी से छातियों को जोर जोर से रगड़ती थी और उसको बहुत दर्द होता था, लेकिन वो उस दर्द के बारे में किसी से कह नहीं सकती थी और लगातार 13-14 साल तक उसे ये दर्द सहना पड़ा ताकि लोग उसकी छातियां न देखें। आश्चर्य, इसको कौन लिखेगा? इसको क्या एक पुरुष लिख सकता है? और एक स्त्री जब लिख रही है, उसकी आत्मकथा पब्लिश हो जा रही है, उस अंश को जब आत्मकथा की किताब में लिखा जा रहा है तो पब्लिशर उस अंश को वहां से एडिट कर देता है कि नहीं नहीं, इससे नाम उसका थोड़ा उसका गांधीवादी स्वर जो है वो खराब हो जाएगा, ऐसा कैसे लिखा जा सकता है। तस्लीमा नसरीन, उन्होंने अपने चाचा के बारे में लिखा कि चाचा के पास माँ भेजती है कि जाओ चाचा से माचिस मांग के ले आओ। वो माचिस मांगने चाचा की कोठरी में जाती है और 8 साल की बच्ची के साथ बलात्कार हो जाता है। वो रोती हुई आती है, लेकिन चाचा कहता है कि ये बात किसी को बताना नहीं, तुमको सांप ने काटा है, ये बात किसी को बताना नहीं। और तस्लीमा नसरीन, जब उसे उन्होंने आत्मकथा में लिखा, मैंने जब उस अंश का अनुवाद किया, वो अनुवाद सुन करके वो रो पड़ी। उन्होंने कहा कि मैं अपने पिछले जीवन को लिखने के बाद मैं उससे मुक्त हो गई थी और तुम्हारे इस अनुवाद ने मुझे फिर से स्मृति की उन गलियों में ला पटका। बायोग्राफी और आत्मकथा दोनों में अंतर होता है। एक व्यक्ति का जीवन जो दूसरा व्यक्ति देखता है, थोड़ा सा दूर से देखता है, उसके एक व्यक्ति का जीवन जब पूरा हो जाता है, उसको देखने का तरीका दूसरे व्यक्ति का अपना होता है। वो ऑटोबायोग्राफी से बिल्कुल अलग है, बिल्कुल ही अलग है। जैसे आपने, किसने प्रेमचंद का नाम सुना है? सुना है ना? प्रेमचंद की के बारे में उनकी बायोग्राफी उनकी पत्नी ने लिखी, शिवरानी देवी ने। और उन्होंने प्रेमचंद के बारे में वो लिखा जो कि प्रेमचंद अपने बारे में नहीं लिख सकते थे। उन्होंने लिखा कि प्रेमचंद लड़कियों के नौकरी करने के सख्त खिलाफ थे। इतना प्रगतिशील लेखक, वो शिवरानी देवी उनकी पत्नी बायोग्राफी में लिखती हैं संवाद कि मैंने पूछा कि औरतों के नौकरी करने से आपको क्या दिक्कत है? तो प्रेमचंद ने कहा, औरतें नौकरी करेंगी तो लड़कों को नौकरी कौन देगा और घर कौन देखेगा? ध्यान दीजिए कि पूरे क्रिश्चियनिटी में औरतों के लिए प्रावधान है कि जब उनका पति अपने मेरे पास 1 मिनट है, अब आप बता दीजिए कि मुझे क्या करना है। तो वो पूरी ईसाइयत में कहा गया, जो कंडक्ट बुक्स लिखी गई उसमें औरतों को बताया गया कि उन्हें अपने पति की सेवा कैसे कैसे करनी है। वो जब क्रिश्चियनिटी के प्रसार के लिए जाए तो पत्नी पीछे से उनके लिए खाना बना के रखे, पति दिन भर क्रिश्चियनिटी का प्रसार करे, थक कर लौट कर आए, नहाए धोए, पत्नी उनके पैरों में तेल लगाए, उसको साफ सुथरे कपड़े पहनाए और फिर उसको आराम से रखे। तो औरतों ने पूछा, तो उनका तो ईसाइयत के कारण उनका आध्यात्मिक उन्नयन हो रहा है, हमारा क्या होगा? कहा कि जिस तरह इस्लाम में औरतों को मस्जिद जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, वो घर में जो पति की सेवा कर देंगी, जा नमाज बिछाकर वो वहीं पर अल्लाह अकबर कर लेंगी, तो ठीक वैसे ही आप पति की सेवा में आपकी आध्यात्मिक उन्नति है। और सोचिएगा, क्या अब भी जमाना बदला है? अगर ऑटोबायोग्राफीज नहीं लिखी जाएंगी तो इस जमाने की धड़कन हम कभी दर्ज नहीं कर पाएंगे। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
थैंक यू वेरी मच। हमारे पास अब 3 मिनट है, बिकॉज 11 बजे तक खत्म करना है। आई थिंक आई जस्ट क्विकली गो। प्रोफेसर कांजी पटेल वांटेड टू मेक अ क्विक पॉइंट अबाउट दिस होल आइडिया ऑफ बॉर्न क्रिमिनल्स।
अभी जो लक्ष्मण जी ने बात कही, जो जमात से वो आते हैं और जिनकी बात महापात्रा जी ने की, उसके बारे में थोड़ा और जानकारी आप सबको होना जरूरी है, क्योंकि आप नई पीढ़ी के हैं। जैसे आपने ऑडियंस को स्कैन किया ना, तो मैं भी उस स्कैनिंग के हिसाब से चल रहा हूं। तो ये होना चाहिए, 1871 की साल अंग्रेज जमाने में उन्होंने एक कानून बनाया, जो कानून का नाम था क्रिमिनल ट्राइब्स एक्ट। वो कानून इसलिए बनाए उन्होंने, सुनिए, कि भारत में 1857 में बड़ा विप्लव हुआ था अंग्रेजों के सामने हटाने का। तो उस दरमियान जो आदिवासी जमातों ने काम किया अंग्रेजों के विरुद्ध में, वो जमातों को आइडेंटिफाई करा। कैसे करा? अंग्रेजों ने किसकी मदद से करा? हमारी मदद से। हमने उनको कहा कि फला चोर है, फला चोर है, फला चोर है। तो वो सब जो जिला कलेक्टर थे ना, वो कलेक्टरों ने इंफॉर्मेशन सरकार को दी, और वो जमातें 65 communities were listed as notified communities, and they were branded criminals, branded by birth. And this idea has come from Europe. The idea from Europe that has come, जर्मनी, फ्रांस वगैरह देशों में जो जमींदार लोग हैं, जो राजा को टैक्स देते हैं, वो ही रिस्पेक्टेबल हैं, वो माननीय है, सम्माननीय है। जो पैसा नहीं देता है सरकार को, सरकार की तिजोरी नहीं भरता है, जीएसटी नहीं देता है, वो सम्माननीय नहीं है। तो टैक्स पेयर इज रिस्पेक्टेबल। दैट आइडिया हैज कम फ्रॉम यूरोप, एंड इन दोज कंट्रीज gypsies and Romas were branded criminals there. You know Charles Dickens, the great author, he has written in his Great Expectations, ये जो लिखते हैं वहां बच्चे चिमनी को स्वीप करते हैं 8 साल के 10 साल के, वो कौन से, वो गुमंतु जमात के नॉमेडिक ट्राइब जो इंडिया में कहा जाता है, वो जमात इंग्लैंड में भी पूरे यूरोप में थी, और वो लोगों को क्रिमिनल ब्रांड करने का सिलसिला यूरोप से अंग्रेज यहाँ लेके आए और 1871 में कानून में डाला, जो 150 साल रहा, और 1952 में इनको डी नोटिफाइड किया गया. फर्स्ट दे वर नोटिफाइड, एंड दिस इज द बेसिक थिंग दैट वी मस्ट नो, बिकॉज 8 करोड़ लोग गुमंतु हैं जिनको ब्रांड किया गया है. हमारे देश की बस्ती इतनी है, इसमें 8 करोड़ ये हैं, 12 करोड़ आदिवासी हैं. तो ये बस्ती को समझने के लिए ये ऑटोबायोग्राफी एक बड़ा जरिया है. ये कम्युनिटी को अपनी ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखनी चाहिए, ऑथर्स को लिखनी चाहिए, जैसे महिलाओं को लिखनी चाहिए. वो सब अगर लिखेंगे तो हमारा देश कैसा है वो हमारे परिचय में आएगा. हम ये जान करके हमारे देश को आगे का रास्ता नक्की कर सकते हैं.
थैंक यू वेरी मच. तुम गोटे भल हिस्ट्री टे देले बुझी पारल ना. तो एनीवे सम ऑफ द मोस्ट वेल नोन ट्राइब्स तुम जानथियो भिल्स मानक विषय जानछो. सलमान खान, हाँ, the Bhils were called Gujars. Anyway, there's more to it. Any quick questions anyone has? Any quick questions? The young students, you know, it has to be. Yes, Hatatakideo, I'll come to you. No one? Okay. Just one question. Tell me, this is unrelated to what they spoke. How many of you think Atma Jivani lekhila, autobiography lekhila, it is 100% truthful? Tumu laguni that when a person writes an autobiography, again, as I said, it is not about this particular. In general, I am also telling the story I want to tell. Mu tumu gote example douchi before I give it to the speakers to give their final words. Jim Corbett bisare sunicho? Sikkar bisare lekhuthile? Ao kon jancho Jim Corbett bisare? Jim Corbett National Park achi, Corbett National Park. To se prathame sikkari thile and then he became a conservationist. ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଗବେଷଣା କଲି ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ପ୍ରଶ୍ନ ପଚାରିଲି, ଆରେ ସେ ପ୍ରଥମେ ଶିକାରୀ ଥିଲେ ତାପରେ କନଜରଭେସନିଷ୍ଟ ହେଲେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ସେ ଶିକାର ବିଷୟରେ ଲେଖିଲେ after he had become a conservationist. When a person who is now talking about conservation, when he is writing about 20 years back I used to do शिकार, ସେ ସତରେ ଯୋଉ thought ରେ ସେ ଶିକାର କରିଥିଲେ ସେଇଟାକୁ ଲେଖୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ତୁମେ ଭାବ ଏବେ ଯେ ଗୋଟେ କନଜରଭେସନିଷ୍ଟ ସିଏ ତା ବିଷୟରେ ଲେଖୁଛନ୍ତି, right? So it's a very interesting thing. I would really urge that all of you, ତୁମେ ମାନେ ସତରେ ଜୀବନୀ କେହି ପଢିନ ଆତ୍ମଜୀବନୀ? Because I'm told that in book fairs biographies and autobiographies sell a lot, particularly जो संक्षिप्त, you know, abridged version छोटो, because बापा माँ माने ପିଲାମାନଙ୍କୁ autobiography biography ପଢିବାକୁ ଚାହାନ୍ତି, inspiration ନିଅ. Seriously କେହି ପଢିନ? ପଢିଛୁ ନା ଟିକେ ଟିକେ? ତୁମ टेक्स्ट बुक ରେ ବି ଥାଏ ଟିକେ ଟିକେ, right? Anyway, quick words, one minute each to everyone to sum up. Yeah.
हेलो. सही बोले तो मैं तो सुजीत महापात्रा का ही आभार व्यक्त करूंगा कि मेरी जगह आपने ले लिया और सेशन बहुत अच्छा किया. और ये श्रीवास्तव जी और राजकुमार जी और आप सभी को मैं बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं कि आज के सेशन में यहाँ पाए. उम्मीद करते हैं कि यहाँ जो जितने स्टूडेंट है कि आने वाले समय में आप भी कोई ऑटोबायोग्राफी लिखेंगी और अपना जीवन के लिए साझा करेंगे, ऐसी उम्मीद करते हैं. सबको धन्यवाद. और ये सेशन खत्म हुआ और महापात्रा जी का बहुत बहुत अभिनंदन कि आपने ये सेशन में कुछ कम पढ़ने नहीं दिया. बहुत है.
I think autobiography is very complex genre so far as the literary genre is concerned. I did not speak because that there was hardly any time to speak about what do people write. So if you are reading about Nehru's autobiography, for example, it is not personal. It is a national autobiography emerging. Say Nehru writes 600 pages. Out of 600 pages, hardly 200 pages to his family, and that he doesn't mention about his wife also. But what he writes about is an India is emerging in his autobiography. But if you read, for example, Lakshman Gaikwad or Hojari for that matter, or Baby Kamble, there are a variety of that areas that people are writing. So I want to conclude by saying that autobiography is a very complex genre. You need to read culture, tradition, custom, language, apart from history, philosophy, etc. And it needs interdisciplinary research and reading. All the best to all of you, those who are interested in either biography or autobiography.
भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस का अधिवेशन 1885 में हुआ था। उसके बाद उसका दूसरा अधिवेशन कलकत्ते में हुआ, जिसकी अध्यक्षता दादा भाई नौरोजी ने की थी। उस अधिवेशन में स्त्रियों ने मांग की थी कि हमें भी दर्शकों में बिठाया जाए, और सभी दर्शकों के लिए, पुरुष दर्शकों के लिए कुर्सियां लगाई गई थीं, और उन औरतों के लिए साइड में दरी बिछा दी गई, जिसमें कादम्बरी देवी और टैगोर की बड़ी बहन स्वर्ण कुमारी देवी जैसे लोग दरी पर बैठे और उन्होंने कांग्रेस का अधिवेशन सुना। तब से अब तक हम जो ये यात्रा करके आए हैं कि हमें दर्शक के रूप में और मंच पर एक और कुर्सी पर बैठने का मौका मिला है, ये उन औरतों के कारण है जिन्होंने अपने बारे में सच लिखा, जो डरी नहीं, जिन्होंने हमें पढ़ाया और जो हमें पढ़ा रही हैं, और जो सच लिखने के लिए, अपने सच के साथ सामने आने के लिए आपको प्रेरणा दे रही हैं। उन औरतों को सलाम, आप सभी को सलाम। धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. I would like to thank all the speakers and particularly SOA University and Dr. Gayatri Bala Panda. मैंने जो ए प्रकार because to expose you not just see अच्छा केही ऑटोबायोग्राफी को भी टाइटल शुणिच कौन शुणिच कहला माय चाइल्डहुड कहार नेहरूंगर अच्छा आउ कौन शुणिच मैरिज कहार हाँ तो नॉर्मली कि सपोज ओडिसा रे भी बंदिर आत्मा कथा शुणिच हाँ तो दीज आर ऑल पीपल इन द मेन स्ट्रीम राइट जो अनेक अनेक स्टोरीज गुड़ा दैट आर नॉट हर्ड वेदर इट इज ऑफ communities branded as criminal tribe, Dalit autobiographies, women's autobiographies, many of these. Tumhe jani lo, you got an exposure. I really hope that you will go back and try to explore, this genre of biography, autobiography, nije padiba, live, learn different things through that. So very good luck to all of you. Tumhe jahan bhi padho. And another thing, I would just request all of you, most of you are in +2. मोर जो काम बकुल फाउंडेशन रे I go everywhere requesting people, please develop a reading habit. It is very important. मु गोटे कथा समस्त तुम जानिछो about AI. मिचियो काकू जने famous, I'm just ending one minute में. मिचियो काकू गोटे कथा कहितले चमत्कार कथा. The future belongs to those who can do what robots cannot. The future belongs to those who can do what robots cannot. Are you preparing yourself for that kind of a future? And that would require innovation, and that is where imagination, and that is where reading habit becomes very important. So I would urge all of you to develop a reading habit. Thank you very much.
What a wonderful discussion we had, right? A big round of applause for the dignitaries on the stage. A special thanks to Sir Sujit Mahapatra for guiding the discussion so seamlessly, and heartfelt thanks to our insightful panelists, Sri Lakshman Gaikwad Sir, Srimati Garima Srivastava Ma'am, and Sri Rajkumar Sir, for making us understand the importance of autobiography and biography and for sharing your wisdom and perspectives. I would also like to acknowledge everyone for being here and making a session a memorable one. That's all for this session. Let's prepare for the next session.
The Journey, which appeared on the Amazon bestseller list. Ms. Mahua Sen has translated Rajkamal Chaudhary's Hindi novella Machli Mari Hui into English. The translation received high praise for its fidelity and finesse. She is honored with the Real International Poetry Prize and the Poesis Award, among others. And joining her is the brilliant Miss Koral Dasgupta, the author, storyteller, and the creative force behind the celebrated Sati series. Koral Dasgupta has published an eclectic range of books from academic non-fiction to relationship dramas. Her books are discussed among the context of gender studies, art, myth, and eco-critical literature. Other than India, books of Miss Koral Dasgupta are shelved in the libraries of University of Harvard, Columbia University, University of Chicago, and many others. Her fourth book, Summer Holidays, has been optioned for screen adaptation. She is currently working with Pan Macmillan on the 5-book Sati series, a retelling of the stories of Panchakanya of Indian mythology, Ahalya, Kunti, Draupadi, Mandodari, and Tara. We wholeheartedly welcome you, ma'am. I now invite them to begin their much-awaited conversation on the Fire and the Faith of Sati series. I request the audience to join me in giving them your full attention as I step aside and leave the conversation in their capable hands.
Thank you so much. Am I audible? Good morning, everyone. Can't hear you. Good morning. First of all, I would like to, say thanks and really grateful to Gayatri Valadi for bringing all of us together under the same roof. And thanks also to SOA University for playing a host to so many of us. And what a privilege to host you on the stage, Koral Dasgupta. Well, stories are an integral part of our lives, right? We were told stories ever since we were born by parents, grandparents, even great-grandparents if we were lucky enough. So stories are just like rivers that flow down generations, sometimes, shifting course, sometimes carving new meanings into the old landscapes. And Koral Sati series is one such river of retellings where mythology meets contemporary thought. And legendary women emerge not as a symbol of subjugation, but as an embodiment of truth, an embodiment of agency. So, Koral, let's begin with the term sati. You have reinterpreted the term sati as the power and strength of the mind, not body. So, how did you arrive at that reinterpretation, given the historical, significance that the term carries? And also, I would like to know why the Panchakanyas are, called, first of all, Kanyas, and what is sati?
Thank you, Mahua. And thank you, Bhubaneswar and SOA, for considering me worthy of this stage. I am truly humbled and grateful. Mahua, coming to...
Sorry to cut you. Are you able to hear her? Oh.
It's working. So, Mahua, thank you for your very kind words. Writing Sati series has really been quite a very, very humbling experience for me, a huge learning experience, and one of them being what you just pointed out. I did not have to search for it, when I was just looking into the stories, that was what sparked. Because I come from Bengal, where Sati is a very political term. In the name of purity, women have been thrown into the pyre of their dead husbands. Because their physical purity were to be retained only if they die. And now I come to the Indian myth and the Indian ancient cultural stories, where women were way more emancipated. We have brilliant stories of women who are doing a lot of things based on their minds, based on their needs. And when I say needs, I don't only mean physical needs. They are the needs of leadership. So all these stories are actually leadership narratives, which are telling us about different situations that we go through in life and what are the options that we have. Because every person's upbringing, every person's situation is different, and hence every person's dharma will be different. And when my dharma clashes with your dharma, there will be war. The war is not necessarily about good and evil always. It is also about understanding the depth of what is right. So when it comes to women and men in mythology, I figure that purity is now Hindu philosophy, and I'm not talking about just religion. Philosophy is a way bigger word, and it covers a far bigger, horizon compared to what any religion can or would. So philosophy will not consider a small thing like a body, because your body is just the home of your soul for this lifetime. And the soul belongs to a far greater universe about which most of us, all of us, do not have any idea. So philosophy will not consider the purity of your body, how you have used your body as the only benchmark of your uh, purity. Purity is more about purpose and intention. Why did you do it? Are you answerable to yourself, or can you answer yourself? Do you have the answer with yourself? That is what defines your purity. So, to give you a very modern day example, there are so many people who will tell you on social media and otherwise that kindness doesn't work. It's okay to, go ahead selfishly and do your stuff and come out of it with your gift in hand, because that is what you wanted. You don't need to see who dies in the corners. Do you allow that to touch you? If you don't allow that to touch you and believe in the kindness, in compassion that you were born with, those are the qualities that every child has right from their birth. And we lose those qualities, those strengths, those power in the process of our life, because the society explains power is intimidation, power is domination. Now, how much we can protect ourselves from that narrative defines our purity. It is not about how we have used our body between genders. That's a very small construct of the entire understanding of purity. So, Panchakanya, the way this narrative came across to me, or this philosophy, this understanding, this wisdom came to me, is just the term that you said, Panchakanya. Kanya means virgin. And you may not know everything about Mandodari and Tara, but you know about Ahalya, Kunti, and Draupadi. If mythology is calling them Panchakanya, which means these are Mahasatis, which means that they are absolutely pure in their intentions. And there are slokas which say that if you recite their names, your sins will be dispelled, you will be a lot more conscious, and you will be spiritually empowered. So it just struck me that why
Would you like to recite the, sloka?
No, I have a good memory. I believe I know my PAN card, I know my Aadhaar card number, I know my bank account number. I don't know why this sloka I cannot memorize. It's there in Google, please look up.
And you mentioned about dharma. So what is your dharma, Kurel?
Dharma, I understand, is there is a macro and micro construct to dharma. One is the immediate decision that I take. I have done something wrong. I know that that wrong will pull me down. And many others. Say I am running a company. I know that my dharma will pull me and many others down if I speak the truth. Now, do I speak the truth? Because truth is the dharma. And at the same time, if I speak the truth, I and many others will come down. The decision that I take, there is no right and wrong here. But whatever I do will have its consequence. And I have to live up to that consequence. That is dharma.
Lovely. How beautifully you have put it. So let's come to Ahilya, the first book in the series. And we know the story of Ahilya. Indra visited her in the guise of Gautama, and things happened. I don't want to go into that because there are different narratives. Gautama cursed Ahilya and she became a stone, later redeemed by Ram and all of that. And you have written, every stone has story and every silence has voice. So I would like to know, how did you translate the silence from oppression to strength in the context of Ahilya?
The answer is very much there in our general colloquial language. We often say that I was so shocked that I turned into a stone. That is exactly what happened with Ahalya. When you were accused of something that you have not done and it has no connection with you, no far stretched connection with you at all, that is when someone tells you something which is no way related to you, you get shocked and for some time you cannot speak. And when you cannot speak, the onlookers feel that they were agreeing to it because silence is consent. Now, that is again a Western imposition that silence is consent. Most of the times, silent is not consent, not at least for women. They are just keeping quiet because they are buying time. We will come back. We will come back at a time of our choice, not when the society believes that we should. And that is what happened with Ahalya also. It is very much within us. You and I have lived that.
And Indra, I mean, you have very beautifully, said that you associated Indra with Indriya. I found that to be extremely fascinating. I would like you to throw some light on that. And Indra, I found, is a common thread in all the stories, right? He is a philanderer, he is the father, he is the, Tell us about Indra.
Yeah, so I was in a literature festival and usually when you are talking about mythology, and since it has a religious connotation as well, most of the people look at mythology as religious narrative, not as a spiritual narrative or philosophical narrative. So I had a fight, not a fight, a disagreement, and people get very angry when you disagree with them, especially when it comes to religious stuff. So I said that I'm very fascinated with Indra because Rig Veda is full of hymns on Indra and beautiful ones. That he was the primary god in the pre-Rig Vedic times, after which the Trinity becomes the more important gods. Now, I felt that Indra is fascinating and I wanted to explore more because I really, really felt that there is some missing thing there. Because why would, if Indra is a philanderer, a totally wrong kind of a character, then why would he continue as Devraj? Now, there are, of course, narratives that Indra changes. Different characters become Indra and with time to time. Those are after narratives, the rebuilding of Indra. But what we know is that Indra continues to be Devraj and Indra is often protected by Narayan, Vishnu. So there is a mismatch. If the god is so bad and if the god is doing the same kind of stuff that an Asura is doing, then is the other god mad that he is favoring him and killing the others? Why would he keep an Asura alive and call him god? So I was trying to explore that and I was really fascinated with Indra and this guy got really angry. He said that you don't understand that Indra is a rapist. So I was like, okay. So Kunti called upon Indra to give birth to the biggest hero of Mahabharata because she wanted the child of a rapist. So he didn't think like this. And he went 2 steps behind and said, then, okay, then you say. So, as I said just before, that we don't necessarily say immediately when asked to say. We sometimes take time. So, I took 5 years to reconstruct Indra. And Indra is really fascinating, mesmerizing, because nobody knows who is Indra. The real Indra, because Indra is the impulse. A beautiful girl is walking by and a man sitting here, his immediate reaction could be City Bajao, right? And his immediate reaction could also be to write a poetry. Both are Indra. So Indra is, nobody knows who is Indra. The way you are, the way I am, we will look at Indra and feel that he is Indra based on our character, not his.
I think mythology is all about metaphoric meanings, right? Now you spoke about Kunti, and when we talk about Kunti, we associate her with a mother who had abandoned her child. But you have mentioned that Kunti, I mean, you have associated Kunti with ambition, which again I found to be very fascinating. Tell us about that. And there's a line that when you give away something, you never get it back in its entirety, and abandonment is unforgiving. So I want to know how that unforgiving abandonment play out in Kunti's life in terms of her relationships with her family and children.
When Kunti was about to come out, a lot of people asked me that, how are you portraying her? Is she a mother, or is she, very cunning? She is malicious. And I was like, no, she is ambitious. She has the right to be an ambitious woman. She is a Kshatriya woman. She has seen kingdoms building up and falling. So a woman with a very strong character will obviously have it in her mind that in order to keep the countries together, one, there are sacrifices to be made. Two, you have to be prepared for everything. And you have to take spot decisions. So Kunti, being a strong character, was not a passive observer. That was one. Second is, I'll tell you exactly Kunti's story from a different perspective, right? So there is a business, right? The business is trying to grow, and it has say any detergent, right? Any detergent who is also producing soaps and dishwashers and stuff. Now it has produced a soap, and then the management says that if the soap goes out, there would be badnami, because right now the kind of ingredients that are there, aloe vera is important. Your soap doesn't have aloe vera, so it will be a badnami for the company. We cannot take it out. The soap is lying in a corner. Other products are out. And then comes a time when people are saying that we want cloves. And you know that that product had cloves. The cloves wala soap went out and it did equally well. And now there is an aloe vera soap and there is a clove soap which is equally good, and they are competing in the market. That is exactly what Kunti's story is. She did not abandon because she wanted to. What really, the question that appeared to me as a child when I was reading Mahabharata was, Kunti had the boon from Durvasa. Kunti pronounced the boon. Kunti made the mistake. Kunti had called upon Surya. Now Kunti was supposed to have a child. Why didn't Surya back out? He knew, right, that the girl has made a mistake. He could have backed out and said that, okay, I will come to you at a more opportune time. That means the contract, the boon that was there was like a one-way contract. Once you entered, you cannot move out. Right? And if Surya cannot be bound in a contract, Surya has to move. So that is where things went wrong, that she had to have the child and she was not in a position to nurture the child at that time, but she did not abandon the child. She let the child go. She took her motherhood away. The child was always in the care of the father, right? Yes. Surya watches everything, everywhere. Surya's light reaches everywhere. So there are so many narratives of munis and rishis who abandoned their child to their wives and went away for their tapasya. Kunti went for hers, and the hell broke loose that the lady has abandoned the child. She left the child.
In the 21st century, we talk about that. Yeah. Mothers leaving their children for work.
Yeah. And Karna grew up with lots of qualities like his father. The warrior that he was like Surya. He was Data Karna, which was again like Surya. Surya is very giving and Karna is very giving. So he was protected by his father, brought up by his father. His father probably operated like the single parent before he went to Adirath. What's the problem? What's the problem?
Wonderful, I love that. So it's a reminder that, empowerment is not gifted, it has to be claimed, right? But we always talk about this in 21st century, but still, again, we always judge a mother who goes to work leaving her child behind. Like being a mother and a working mother, I always get to hear this, so yes. Coming to Draupadi, you had stated that you wanted to bring the inner life of Draupadi into the foreground. So I want to know what, aspect of Draupadi's inner world, the marginalized aspect perhaps you wanted to bring to the foreground, and how is your Draupadi different from the traditional narrative that we know about?
Draupadi was the most difficult book to write. One, because the character was really demanding. Two, because when there is a crime with a woman involved, you can never be happy that, okay, I have done justice. Nothing just justice. After a crime has been committed and a woman has suffered only because she has a particular kind of body which is not as muscular and as trendy as a man's is. You cannot justify that in any way. And of course, so much work has already happened. Big authors, big scholars have worked on Draupadi. It was scary. But yeah, Chitra has written, there are many, even Mahashweta Devi has written. So many authors across ages has explored Draupadi from different perspectives. When I started writing Draupadi, there were two things that I wanted to, not two, three. One was her relationship with Krishna. Interestingly, Draupadi was also called Krishna, the double A. And then we have Krishna, which is Bhagwan Krishna. So it came to my mind that, okay, probably we can interpret this as Krishna is the Antaratma, the same person, Krishna, who is Draupadi, and her Antaratma is Krishna. So then, Krishna doesn't necessarily have to be the male god who is protecting Draupadi. It is Draupadi's inner wisdom that is protecting her. And again, that is the truth of Yar, which doesn't need to be told, that every time you are in big trouble, what comes to your rescue is your inner wisdom. What comes to your rescue is the years of work, good behavior, your personality that you have put across. And that has already created your base. And that base will protect you when you are not in your best times. So Krishna was one, Krishna Draupadi's relationship, the friendship that we call, I wanted to make it very much a inner and outer consciousness, which is also the case with Bhagavad Gita, where it is the conscience and the consciousness conversation. Second was Draupadi's equation with Arjun, the absentee husband whom she loved the most. The one that she married was least available to her. I mean, what the hell? What an irony. But then that bond was so strong, and again there is Krishna in between. That means the Antaratma is together. When two people has, collaborated in terms of their Antaratma, you cannot separate them.
True. Wow.
That is the same in case of Ram Sita and again in Arjun Draupadi.
Wow.
Third was the relationship with Bhishma. I really wanted to explore that through Draupadi. Draupadi being the grandson's wife, what we call Nathbo in Bengal. That's a very beautiful relationship.
Yes, absolutely.
Your in-laws may not be that kind, but your grandparents in-laws will be very nice.
Enduring. Yeah.
Yes. So when Bhishma comes in touch with Draupadi, he doesn't see the angry woman. He sees a very compassionate woman, and he starts expressing the truth about himself that he had never told anybody. That truth is, or that secret is, Bhishma's transformation from Devavrat to Bhishma. Devavrat was a young guy who didn't know what the vow that he was taking meant. And by the time he became Bhishma, he didn't realize that he is operating under a very shrunken room where he is not supposed to love, where he is not supposed to come in contact with a woman. So the same guy who had once given up all his basic rights to protect his father's love committed the crime of abducting 3 princesses from their Swayamvara. I mean, what a transformation. And when you look at it, patriarchy, I was just talking on the way to this venue. Patriarchy has not spoiled things only for women. Patriarchy has spoiled things for men also. Because when you create walls, when you say that you are not supposed to cry, you are not supposed to pursue a particular job. Today, 5 men say that we want to practice Odissi, we want to learn Odissi. There will be 50 laughing at them. So when you are stopping a man from expressing, and you are telling him also, like women, that you are not supposed to do this, you are not supposed to follow your heart, you have to take care, you have to protect. I mean, who protects? Who can protect? Even if you protect the body, you will kill the mind. That is what has happened all through. The same happened with Bhishma. If you uh, don't water a soil, and you say that the watering the soil is something that women needs, men don't need water, right? If you don't water the soil will be uneven, and every person walking on that soil will have their feet bruised. Exactly. That is exactly what has happened. So Bhishma finds it easier to express in front of Draupadi because of the love, and Draupadi being Draupadi. So these are the three specific.
If a woman divided among men learns to multiply their strength, and I found that to be extremely universal. So, is it rooted in mythology or modern observation? I wanted to ask you.
It is everywhere. Mythology, history, literature, sociology, anthropology, you go anywhere, you will find it everywhere.
Politics, yeah. And diagonally opposite, I mean, from Draupadi, you said many people have written about Draupadi. There are so many books, and then we jump into Mandodari, and we hardly have, read about Mandodari much. Besides the fact that, she was the righteous consort of the unrighteous so-called Ravana, though I don't find him unrighteous anymore after reading so many retellings, but yeah, that's for another day. So how did you do the research for Mandodari? I'm sure, or how did you decide how much agency could she exert? Because she did not confront, she was very kind towards Sita. She tried to counsel Ravana all her life. But how did you write an entire book on her?
Whether Rama is righteous or no, we will have a debate some other time again, because I am a complete believer of Rama being Maryada Purushottam, and I am not a radical. I have a logical reason to it. I do not believe in being radical. I cannot speak to radicals. So, coming to Mandodari, I had two leads while recreating Mandodari. First was, Mandodari was again and again going back to Ravan, saying that returns. Now, Ravan, I am convinced, is the biggest villain of Indian culture, Indian mythology. I'm completely convinced about Ravan's villainousness. I don't come from the school which glorifies Ravan or his likes. Now, in spite of that, Mandodari was going and telling him again and again. Now, if the lady is scared of Ravan, she will not go, because she knows that she will be killed or something worse will happen to her, worse than death. Right? That means the guy could be very bad, but he was doing something right as a husband. That is the reason why the wife had that space to go back and tell him again and again. Right? And Ravan had two other wives. We don't know their names. We know only Mandodari. That means the equation of Ravan and Mandodari was something else altogether, which has not exactly been explored because Ravan is the villain.
Yes.
Secondly, Mandodari is the daughter of Mayasur, who later constructed Indraprastha in Mahabharata, which is the Maya palace, which is the palace of illusions, as per Divakarani's book.
Chitra,
which is brilliance. Now, an architecture of that level, we have seen in mythology most of the times that whatever the father or the mother's profession is, the children are imbibing it. So Mandodari will take that from her father also, no?
True.
She is not sitting there.
And the mother was also Apsara, no?
Yeah,
Hema,
exactly. So that is where I just wove my head around it that, okay, Ravan took Lanka, he seized Lanka from Kuber. The Lanka that he seized from Kuber was very affluent with lots of gold, because Kuber is the keeper of gold. So affluent Lanka we knew Ravan seized. We didn't call it beautiful Lanka. Then when did in between Lanka become beautiful? And that narrative is missing. So there must be Mandodari in between doing the architecture.
Oh, wow.
Who is the daughter of an architect?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Ravan is not the son of an
Wonderful,
architect.
wonderful. Wow.
So these are the two things on which the entire story stands, and it also
Mm-hmm.
stands on Mandodari uh, since Maya is an architect who creates illusions in his architecture. Mandodari, learning that kind of architecture, collides head on with Indra, who is the god of illusions. So, in this story, Indra is the villain in Ravan's perspective. Indra is the villain whom Ravan could not defeat, but Ravan's son Meghnad could. Why? Because he is the son of the woman who had illusion in her blood. And Meghnad's warfare, he is known for illusory warfare technique with which he defeated Indra and became Indrajit. So there's so much to explore, to cook.
So how many of you know about Tara? Anybody knows about Tara here? Anybody knows about Tara? Yes, Bali's wife. We don't know much besides the fact that she was Bali's wife. Tell us about Tara. How did you, delve deeper into the animal kingdom and again decide how much agency could realistically, Tara exert in the story? Tell us about Tara.
So,
Also, Tara is the thickest book of them all, right? How did that happen?
so actually, Tara is, out of all the five, Tara is my favorite. Writing Tara was very challenging because the entire thing will have to consider the animal world, as you put it. And that was a challenge. That was fascinating as well as quite a difficult job to do. But I was really thrilled because there was a lot in it. Now, much before writing, even getting into writing Sati series and all that, I had one question in my mind always, that why did Ram kill Bali from behind? Okay, there are all these narratives that Bali had the boon that, he cannot be, every time someone comes to attack, his strength will double and all that. Those are all the later narrative, things put across to, largely put across to defend Rama. That you see, that is the reason why he killed from me. But I was very, very, perplexed about that whatever logic you put, he is the god, no? Then why did he kill from behind? And I was never of the opinion that Bali is the villain. We have grown up believing that Bali is the villain. I was never of the opinion that Bali is the villain. Yes, Bali and Sugriv had a disagreement which was totally based on a misunderstanding, and things went haywire. In animal species, they are far more aggressive than humans are. We humans have the option to be angry and not express. We have the option to root our anger through our work, through our conversations, and reach somewhere. Animals do not have that privilege. They have that animal instinct where they collide head on. And that is exactly what happened. Now, coming to Tara, for me, Bali Sugriv's story was interesting because I see Bali as the son of the wild. He is completely convinced about being an animal. He knows about animal strengths, and there are. He is completely rooted into animal ethics. Those also are. Those are what I was studying during my research. That what are animal ethics? And animal ethics are very, very basic and very, very simple. So one of them, for example, is they will never trust. If you have betrayed an animal, they will never trust you again. And if they love you, they will love you forever. Kuch bhi kar lo, they will always love you. So there are animal ethics of this kind. They don't destroy. They don't find anything dirty. They accept everything as a part of the world, and they prove. You will never find an animal cleaning. They have accepted the world as it is. So Bali is that animal who believes in animal strength, who believes in animal power, and he hates humans. Because Bali and Sugriv both have seen Ahalya's curse. So Bali is particularly hateful towards humans who betray and human men. Because he had seen Ahalya getting cursed totally out of nowhere. And Sugriv, on the other hand, got afraid. So whenever something wrong happens, there's a group that gets angry, there's a group that gets afraid. Sugriv was the one that got afraid. And since he was afraid, he believed in human supremacy.
Okay.
So while Bali wanted to remain in the wild, he believed in the forest Raj and everything. Sugriv was waiting to be tamed by the human.
Okay.
So
He was scared, yeah.
we have missed something about these two, that we know Hanuman crossed the sea with one jump. What we forgot was that other than Hanuman, there was only one other monkey who could rise that high up, and that was Bali. Bali was fascinating because Ravan came to Bali to fight because he heard that there is this monkey who takes a lot of air. So he came to fight, and Bali did not fight. Bali completely took it like a fun thing. He kept Ravan waiting, and when Ravan got angry and went to cut his tail, he wrapped him around his body and went into the Brahmand Darshan. And now Ravan was trapped. He could not even move his fingers. Poor thing was wriggling, and he accepted defeat. And the rule is that when you are defeated, you are to be killed. Ravan offered to be killed. Bali said that I will not kill, let us be friends instead of enemies. Why do we have to be enemies? And that's how Bali became friend of Ravan. And because Bali became friend of Ravan, he also became the villain in popular narratives. But if you see, Bali is the one who managed, or who could choose friendship over enmity. That is what animals do. That is what animals do. Now Tara is trapped in between. On one hand, there is Bali, who is rooting towards one spectrum, and on the other, there is Sugriv rooting towards another. Tara is the one holding the two because she can see evolution happening. Bali's ideology would not last. Machines are coming over. Sugriv is ecstatic, saying that, Bali, they have created the wheel. Humans have created the wheel. Now things can be ported. People they do not have to work hard. There is a chariot which is carrying. And Bali is saying, idiot, why do you need that? Jump higher, work harder, your body will be better. That is what we are discussing right now, right? About machine and humans. Mythology is telling that. And Tara knows that Bali's time has gone. What he is holding on so tightly will change because evolution is truth. You have to move with the times. Bali's time is ending, Sugriv's time is beginning. Now, Bali Sugriv Tara story is often blamed because when Bali is not there, Tara is with Sugriv. When Sugriv is exiled, Tara goes back to Bali. Along with Tara, Ruma goes back, which is Sugriv's wife. And when Sugriv returns, these both are back with. So, the critics say that are these women or ping pong balls? Now, if you look at the story of monkeys with human consciousness, you will not be able to take their story. In the animal world, there is one alpha. The moment the second alpha emerges, there will be a clash. There cannot be two alphas. And the herd chooses who they stay with. So, in the absence of Bali, Sugriv became the alpha. Bali comes back, finds Sugriv as the alpha. He just loses it. Sugriv is exiled. The herd chooses to stay with Bali because they have seen Bali as the ruler. By the time Bali has come back, he's a different animal altogether.
Wow.
With your words changing,
Very clearly,
Bali was also changed. So that is what has happened. And Tara is the one who is observing everything, trying to hold the two pieces together, thread them together, praying, understanding that things will move, and she will be the one who will be left without the one she loves the most. And her only prayer is that don't let Bali die.
Wow.
And that prayer gets answered. Bali dies, but somewhere in the realm, Indra becomes that messenger who becomes the messenger between Bali and Tara. So Tara is more about the love that never dies. She refuses to be called Sugriv's wife throughout.
Okay.
She wants to be called Bali's widow.
Wife.
She is the
Widow,
queen.
yeah.
She is the queen of Kishkinda because of her, Sugriv can rule because she is the indigenous queen of Kishkinda. Bali and
Kishkinda.
Sugriv has come from outside.
Mhm.
So if she gives up the queenship, Kishkinda will fall.
Fall.
So she is the queen.
Wow. Yes.
And she is the one who is holding the queen position but refuses to be called Sugriv's wife. She is Bali's widow.
Wow, amazing, Koral. So, which Sati do you identify yourself with the most?
I think not just me, everybody will identify with every of these women.
Very
and
true.
I say something very clearly that these stories are not gender agnostic. These stories are gender agnostic. It is not that what Karna and Arjun has gone through, a woman will not. What Draupadi Sita has gone through, a man can do. It happens all the time. Draupadi's story is about a woman who has climbed up the leadership ladder and faces resistance from her own people whom she had fed and nurtured and helped in times of their need. There wouldn't be anybody in this room who identifies as a leader and can say that they have not been betrayed by people they trusted.
Absolutely, absolutely, Koral. So this reminds us again that these Panchkanyas were not a relic of the past, but they are the echoes of the present. They are the echoes of us, you and I, right? So thank you for writing the Sati series. Now I'll open it up for you all, but I have a question for you, and I'll digress a bit from the Sati series. How many of you are Shah Rukh fans here? Oh, so many. See. And Koral has written a book on Shah Rukh Khan. Tell us a bit about that. And did you present the book to Shah Rukh?
No, in fact, I have heard that Shah Rukh Khan got very angry.
Why so?
Because I am Shah Rukh's fan, so a little bit of Shah Rukh Khan is there in me also, which includes his arrogance. So Chennai Express was, Jab Tak Hai Jaan had released, and the book was ready. So I had sent the manuscript to Red Chillies to check, verify if they want any change. And they sat on it for a long time, almost a year. And Chennai Express was was ready to be released.
The Power of a Common Man, right?
The name of the book is Power of a Common Man.
The book, if you want.
It is actually a consumer behavior case study with Shah Rukh. So Chennai Express was about to release, and I was like, my publisher was also, scratching their head that up kya. So I said, fine, let me create a case study of Chennai Express. We will punch that in, a marketing case study, and let it go. So we did that. Now I cannot wait indefinitely, and every time a film releases, I cannot punch case studies. So we were like, "Gya tel lene Red Chillies. Let us go ahead with the book."
Achha.
We went ahead with the book, and now nobody will like that arrogance. So he didn't. But he tweeted about that book. I mean, that's really big that in
he
spite
tweeted
of,
about it.
in spite
Wow.
of whatever you have, you might be angry, but then you still acknowledge. That's big.
Exactly. Yeah.
I definitely give that. But when the book went out, the fan clubs took over. And that was a fascinating experience with different kinds of. There was this girl from Nigeria who did not know English. And she wrote an email to me that the book is not available here. Can you
Wow.
get it sent? I will pay for the courier. I was like, you don't know English. Why are you buying it? But she wanted it.
Wow. What does an author want more
That's
than this?
more than the author. It's about the personality.
Yeah,
it was Shah Rukh
that's
selling,
again, yeah.
not my book selling.
Yeah. So I'll open it up for you all. I think we have 2-3 minutes. Yeah. Anybody has any question for Koral? Any of you have a question for Koral?
There are two hands.
Can somebody give her a mic?
Thank you, ma'am.
Namaste.
Ma'am, I have a question. Ma'am, actually, what is the meaning of sati?
Yeah. Sati, the word means pure. Pure, just pure. And sati
They
in
fight
the
a lot
context
of pressure, but still their ground reality is the yeah.
Okay, koi baat nahi. So sati, the word means pure, and in the context of mythology, you will find बार बार आ रही है ये word Mahasati.
Sati and Mahasati.
हाँ, so Mahasati or Sati, they both mean that a woman who has not necessarily not been touched by other people's opinions and other people's opinions of how she should be. For example, I see that you are a married woman, right? Now, someone might tell you to do certain things, right, in your house, and you apply your mind na, that what if I do it, elders are saying, if I do it, one, do I agree? Two, what is the implication? You are telling me that, okay, you scold the in-laws, say, sister-in-law's child, okay? Sister-in-law's child has done something, you have to scold that child because then your child will feel better, right? These are general. Now, as a woman, you will, of course, want to please your child. But at the same time, you are also thinking that बच्चे हैं, हो गई है मारामारी, कर दिया है बच्चे ने कुछ गलत. Now, if I scold my sister-in-law's child, the relationship might get affected. And in the long run, when you need people in your good and bad times, that person might not be available. So you take your decision that what do you do? Do you really go ahead and spoil your relationship, or you keep the relationship and manage it? Now, you will be provoked by people who would benefit from that fight, right? Who would want you to separate from that family. Are you giving in? That is your purity. And purity किसी के लिए कोई और कभी define नहीं कर सकता. Only you know why you have done with what intention. And whatever is your intention, if you can justify it to yourself, when you look at the mirror, if you know that the mirror is not laughing back at you, that what have you done? If your antaratma is satisfied with what you have done, you have done the most purest thing possible. That
means a pure intention of your mind.
Yes. Purity of purpose, purity of intention.
Thank you.
Wow. We had another question. Yeah, the girl in white.
Hello, ma'am. I had a question. So, as you write about characters that are deeply opinionated, that are strong, independent, I wanted to ask, in our culture, we worship Goddess Durga, Goddess Kali, such fierce type of female who are actually, the embodiment of power. Yet, people around us, they want to always, whenever we are talking about a great character of a woman, they want to associate it with purity, with, kindness, compassionate. Why not the anger, the fierceness? And if so, like, why do you think that this patriarchy has imposed on us that women are to be associated with such adjectives, and the power, the anger, the fierceness, it always goes with the warriors or the men? Why do you think it is so?
That is because it helps to create a mountain and a valley. Because if you want men to rule, and patriarchy did not do justice to anybody, they did not just want men to rule, they wanted men to rule in a particular way. They wanted women to stay quiet in a particular way. Everything was terms and conditions applied. So everybody suffered. The man suffered because they may have got the service but not love when they tried to intimidate and dominate. They created silent women who did not, you say na that I don't want to deal with this creature. And you step aside. That is not love. I'll tell you, when I was, please sit down, don't stand. When I was small, my mother used to tell me about her father. He was the alpha of the house, the very strong-headed man. Till the time he would be eating his food, the entire room would be quiet, very quiet. And once he finished his food, got up and left, all the children would start, their own banters, having fun. Someone would pick up a grain of rice and throw at the other. The other would keep that, the hand which is used for eating, laga diya. all those kinds of fun things, and they're laughing their heart out. My mother, when I grew up, my mother, I have seen that happening. And since elders followed that, we also followed. When I grew up, my mother, in different discussions, once she said that, at times I feel that my father must have wondered that why don't they do that when in my presence it's so fun. They are having fun and I am isolated. Till the time I am there, nobody will laugh. And nobody can stay in that gloomy world, right? You put the person in a gloomy world, he will turn even more gloomy. So my memories of my grandfather is an angry man. I don't have a pleasant, happy man. So that is what patriarchy has done. Trying to label, trying to, create boundaries, trying to define and put everybody into a corner. Now, when feminism came, they thought that if patriarchy has done this, we will do the reverse. So they did reverse patriarchy. I'm talking about pseudo-feminism, which is very, very toxic. Now, I was just seeing a reel where a woman in 30 seconds, she explains beautifully that feminism is the biggest scam of our generation because they said that women are capable of everything. Women should be always right. Whatever the woman does, she will excel. We tried to follow that, being the superwoman, and now we are exhausted.
Exactly.
So, probably this is the generation where you all, probably the Gen Zs who is so much in discussion right now, will be able to change a lot of things which we have changed a lot from what our yesterday generation did. And you will take that change ahead. And I really hope that our generation can cooperate with you, understand you, believe in you, and make your path easier rather than creating boulders.
I think I'll just add something to that. I always believe that inside the patriarchy, the societal patriarchy that we talk about all the time, there's a parental patriarchy. From the time we were born, we were told how to be, how to behave, how to not to laugh too louder, how to sit, how to dress, and so on. I think something has to be changed from that level. We have always been taught to be good girls, good wives, good daughter-in-laws, good mothers, and that, expectation of good never ends. So
right now, we are in a situation where, right now we are facing Gen Alpha, and I have a son who is at the cusp of Gen Alpha, 13-year-old. So we have grown up with things like our parents will say, Gadha kahi ka, bandar kahi ka. So I also thought that I have the privilege as a parent, I have inherited the right, I have given birth to a child. So what my parents did, I'll also do. Do char thappad to laga hi dungi. Now, my son, he answered back.
Okay.
I said, Gadha kahi ka. He also in some things said, Gadha kahi ka. And I was like, hello? And he said, isn't it allowed? I thought, you also said. And when he said that, I realized that, first of all, who am I to say that Gadha is idiot? I don't have no experience with a Gadha. I don't know about anything about its intelligence. So, on what basis do I say Gadha kahi ka? Secondly, if I say it to my son, who is a human and must be respected for his intelligence at his level, at his age, with whatever capabilities he has.
It's abusive.
His innocence is way more powerful than whatever corruption has happened within me already.
Exactly.
So
very, very
he
true.
deserves his respect and I deserve mine.
Exactly.
And if I don't want him to say Gadha Gaika to me, I should stop. That was a learning that I had, but I guess I could take it in the right spirit.
Even I have these learnings from my children. I think we'll talk about that off stage because we are done.
We can take it in the right spirit because we have walked that distance.
Yeah.
If we said that to our parents, our game over ho gaya hota.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Coral, for this illuminating conversation.
This session has witnessed an enlightening literary conversation that contained depth, passion, and profound insights. Thank you, Ms. Mahua Sen and Ms. Koral Das Gupta, for this enriching and soul-stirring conversation. You have not only revisited mythology, you have redefined it. Thank you to our wonderful audience as well for being with us today. as we explored the fire, faith, fragility, and fierce strength of mythological womanhood. I appreciate everyone's presence today. The next session in this hall will start promptly at 2 p.m. after lunch.